Hi, my name is Lita O'Halloran, and I am the Conservation Manager and Biologist for the Passamaquoddy Nation. With the Nation, I do a lot of different work, but primarily one of my major efforts is focused on restoration. The Passamaquoddy Bay is very important. It is sort of the lifeblood of the Bay of Fundy and the Gulf of Maine. All the processes that happen in the Passamaquoddy Bay affect further outward. It's a cascading effect. A lot of the work that I do focuses on bringing fish back, putting fish back in the waters. To do that, we focus on mitigating man-made negative impacts. A lot of the things that affect fish affect us as a people. And by restoring these back to natural levels, we only improve ourselves and our economy and our culture. Focusing on just one species is not enough. We need to focus on the ecosystem, the habitat, and the function and how it all interacts and interrelates with each other. With this in mind, the restoration that we do focuses on giving fish access to habitat and then improving that habitat. We focus on individual species like Gaspereau, but that is because it is a keystone species that has, again, a cascading effect on the rest of the ecosystem. When we focus on accessing habitat, we look at things like crossings and things that impact the rivers that enter into the estuary and the bay. When we focus on this restoration, we try to increase access and let the river act like a river. In a lot of cases, preventing access can reduce populations and result in loss of species. When we focus on restoration, we focus on the watershed as a whole. We want to ensure that when we're doing restoration, we're prioritizing it in a way that isn't going to result in a random act of conservation. So by doing it at a watershed level, we can be strategic. We can look at entire stream reaches and look at all of the barriers within those stream reaches and be prioritizing each one until the fish are able to access all of the habitat. The work that I've been doing with the Nation has been primarily under the Coastal Restoration Fund. And so with that, we've been working on it over the last 5 years to create watershed level plans to restore the fish in the rivers. By doing this, we're prioritizing everything, but we're also giving opportunity for real-life restoration. Over the last 2 years, we surveyed over 2,000 road stream crossings, waterfalls, and other barriers within the territory. This is a lot of work and a lot of effort, but what it allows us to do is be very strategic in our restoration efforts. When we look at these, we look at things like water quality as a physiochemical barrier, fish that are present and approaching these barriers, and how fish are moving through these locations to see if there's room for improvement. We want to make sure that fish are accessing their habitat in a safe, timely, and effective methods. When we do restoration, we follow the Stream Smart program, which is invented in Maine, and this process is kind of follows one golden rule, and that rule is let the river be a river. This is important. This is important to us, the species, and our people. By doing this, or not doing this, I suppose, structures that are in place that do not span the river, it causes restriction of the river, which can result in floods and safety issues. It doesn't pass sediment, which can cause other issues, such as preventing the passing of other aquatic life, like macroinvertebrates that fish feed on. When we look at these structures, we follow a hierarchy within our own restoration goals. The first being, don't put the crossing there in the first place. If we are designing roads or designing infrastructure, we can put in specific planning to try and avoid crossing the river, to prevent putting in these structures that may cause passage issues. The second priority is to remove structures. You'll hear from others at this conference about some of these projects, including the removal of Milltown Dam. So by removing these structures, we can, again, let the river act like a river. Our third priority is to install or replace structures with something a little bit more appropriate. Things like bridges and open bottom culverts are more appropriate because it allows all those things. They typically span the river, they typically allow sediment, water, and other aquatic species to pass. With this in mind, we've tried to approach all of these concepts in the work that we've done. We've worked with local groups such as ATV clubs building trails and have worked with them to try and avoid passing the river. We are removing structures in the river such as dams, but as well as abandoned culverts and structures from old rail lines and roads. And we've been working with DTI to replace structures, removing old perched culverts and putting in bridges. So even just in 2021, we've removed over 15 structures and done improvements in that, and opened up more than 25 kilometers worth of stream reach. We work diligently to take all of this into effect and prioritize restoration, not for ourselves, but for everybody. We have those 2,000 structures that we've surveyed, and we have a plan. As out of those 2,000, 42% were considered a full barrier to fish passage. We'll be working diligently for the next 7 generations to fix that, and we hope that you will join us. Thank you.